Alright, I think I got my audio suited out now, so it should be much kinder on the sinuses. It was very bassy before, and it kind of sounded like a deep-fried Oreo, so I'm going to keep talking here for a second, then I'm going to mute the stream, and I'm going to go check on if my audio improved. Oh yeah, Jim. It sounds nice. Maybe, yeah, it sounds real nice. Alright, we picked up last time. I was making this absolutely abominable UI generator. So, the question is, how dynamic do I want this to be? Do I want it to be like, I don't know, do I want it to generate a string? And that goes through options? Or do I want it to be a generator? How do I want this to go? See, I don't even know if I want it to return a string, because should the... UIs should... If I think about it, I should return a string. Okay, hard decision here. I think this is a multi-step process. I think I need something that's going to... Alright, yeah, okay. So this is going to return void. Shit. And this is going to be, we'll rename this to UI user interface generation. And this is going to be two things. This is going to... let me think about this. Because, okay, preferably, if I'm going to do user interface, I want something to return... I want something that returns a true or false. So I want a system that makes selections and returns results. And I want something that also makes the user interface. So let me think how I could achieve this real fast. Okay, so I think what I can do is I could make a class. Okay, I'm not really good at this whole object-oriented business, so let me attempt to commit some tomfoolery here. And let's say we want it to... We'll have a UI class. New Java class, UI generation. Or just UI. I guess UI is fine. And here we will have a let me do some quick Googling. I don't work in Java a lot. I'm trying to force myself to work in more object-oriented instances, and I know, like, oh my god, he doesn't know how to make object-oriented. What is wrong with this silly fella, right? Oh, okay. So let's say we have a public UI. Shucks, UI. Does it take parent? Yeah, okay. Okay. So I want this thing to have a couple of useful... Let's say we have a public a public bool, and we will say, well, this will be selection. Oh yeah, now it's all coming together. It's all popping in the noggin now, right? This is, that's now Boolean try to... And this will return true or false, and so we'll have something for selections. We'll say, yes. So, how do I want to do this? I could say, Okay, I have an idea. I could pass in an array of strings into this object. It can add these to a list. The selection is then returned, and it returns true or false for certain selections. So let's say I hovered over... oh yeah, I want to deal with input with this too, which I could just add the input class. That's easy peasy lemon squeezy. I think. I think this is right. This looks right, but don't worry about it. Let me go ahead and throw this fella on here. So I think what I want to do is I'm going to make a new... Oh, yeah, it's that easy. Okay. Options. And here we will say options or string options. Give me a second. It's my man. Oh, okay. Let me go up here, and we will say, up here, and we will say, I think that's all I have to do, and I could say here, options list is equal to options. So when we construct it, it assigns this variable to this specific instance of this class. That sounds right. Let me keep going here. So now this will be set up index. So each selection will be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So yeah, I think that's pretty good. Down here is where we get sauced. So we add in a list of strings, and so start will be 0. I guess I want to call a function when this is true. Or return a value. Yeah, I guess I want to call a function. Hold on, doing some Googling. Oh, okay. So lambda expressions look like something I need to get into. Let's look here. Hmm. Sorry, I'm just looking up how to use lambda expressions at the moment. Oh, interesting. That is peculiar. This seems kind of insanium, actually. One moment, people. Sorry, still doing a lot of research. A lot of big brain. Want to make sure I do this correctly. Hmm. Do I handle this in input? Let's see. No, I don't. Okay, so I think I know how I want to do this. Let's do... So the selection is obviously an integer. So int, option. And then, runnable. I'm just shooting from the hip here. I have no idea if this is gonna work. Func, because I'm just that cool. Do I want... I guess I do want that. Let me make selections, let me create a UI. Okay, so, let's do UI in or public void UI in, oh god, that's gross. In input UI. Oh god, this is egregious. Committing war crimes, my favorite pastime. Let's see here. This is going to be, so let me give you the quick rundown. W or A loops up and down the list. Enter blank for selection. I just realized something. Does input? Okay, it just says false. Let me, instead of doing false, let me just do S out. Not selection. This is gonna get mad because make press. Let's see. So this is just returning something. And then S, can I, oh shoot. Yeah, I don't like that. Okay, I'm gonna leave this as is, that's fine. Let's go back to UI. It would be nice to get loopless user input, but I don't think that's happening for a while. So here, I don't think we need any parameters to be called. So let's say I need an int index selection start at 0, and then so if you think about it, do we need to loop this? Perchance. Let me think here. So WS, okay, so how do I get the length of a list in Java? Or, yeah. Length of array Java. Oh, it's just length. That's peak. If okay, if index selection plus 1 is greater than so if we add 1 and it's greater than the length, the options list dot length. Let's see here. I gotta. Oh, unmute Jack. Good guy. What a fella. I'm streaming Java programming. I know, riveting. Index selection -1 is greater than is greater than 0 or equal to 0. So if index selection is less than or equal to, well, I think that's a lambda. Why is this so mad? And cannot be applied to int. I beg your hardest pardon. And? No? How do you do the and operator? Oh, do I have to encapsulate these? Maybe? Or is this an invalid syntax? Is it this? I'm so confused. Why is this being so cringe? It shouldn't be int, it should be bool. I'm very confused as why this is not working. Okay, well, the big guy ChatGPT says this is correct. I have no idea why this works. Yeah, looks fine to me. Alright, so if we are within our ranges, now we just do a simple input check. Whoops. We say if. Yep, lots of if statements. Gotta love it. Oh boy. So if no. I need if input dot in, oh boy. If inputs pressed, I just need to call input pressed. Does this need to be static? That's a question. I guess it could be static. It's not going to hurt a single molecule for this thing to be static. Alright, go back to UI. So if pressed is equal to... true. True. I'm seeing a bit of an issue here. I can't select specific inputs. I guess it doesn't matter. How robust do I want to make this UI system is the question. Because, like, I could have it pop up and say, hey, do this stuff. Well, we'll get there when we get there. It's fine. Let's see here. If input pressed equals true, then we want some magic to happen. We want... Oh, I see a great problem with the input system. I cannot select which keys are pressed. Let me go ahead and fix that. Char. Key pressed. And cases, I don't... If... Oh, I know what I could do. I could say... string selection is equal to empty. And if I do if... Okay, this is really cursed. This is immensely cursed. Nobody ever copy this. This is just bad programming right here, Jambo. So if it's equal to the output... Output? Why is... Ah, yeah, that explains why. Fundamentally different data types. If it's equal to the output, then we say selection is equal to key pressed. Look at that. Oh, whoops. Too many equal signs. And then here, we say selection. Bam! That easy. We fixed the fundamental flaw in our input system. That easy. Not too shabby, Jambo. So, now, if we say... Did we, though? Because... if I press S... and I think what I did works. Maybe. We'll give it a little tester. I think this is good. You know what? I could throw... but this is full of error. Let me get this to a point where... Let me return null here. False, I mean. Here, I will say else... Actually, I'll just leave it blank, because that's fine. And then I'll pop into the main, and I'll say, if... Oops. Shit. False. Okay, I'll drop an if statement here, just to, I'm testing out the input system to see if it works the way I understand it will. Oh, nice. Cool code completion. Thanks, IntelliJ. Inputs dot pressed W is equal to true. This out. W. Input dot pressed S is equal to false. And we want to obviously print S. And let's see. Let's give this a quick rundown. Some of the jizzy jazz. Bam. Get this little feller up. Oh dear, what did I do? Oh, there it goes. That was weird. There we go. Build complete. Oh, S. Oh dear. There's a massive fundamental flaw occurring, and I don't exactly know why. Let me add some more text here. Because this could just be my insanity taking over. I think it's my failure. No, I don't think that is. I think I got it right. Let me, I accidentally closed the terminal here. Let me get that guy up. There we go. Let me recompile. And W. It's always going infinite. Okay. Something is off. So I press W once, nothing happens. I press W again, and it works. So that makes me think something's wrong with this. It's the next. Let me Google. Something here. Let me. I'm trying to call in a friend here. Good feller. Okay, well, he's just in the abyss. Nice. Something is going on here. I think it's this. I think it's something to do with this next guy that's sending a kerfuffle. Yep, that looks fine. Char. I wonder if it's defaulting false. Let me throw in a quick thing here. Oops. Let's go to main. Let's throw an else in here. Let's do that. Recompile. Make sure it's on stream. Throw this guy up there. And press W. W again. Okay. So, I don't know why it's the first time that does that. I have to input it twice. That's very odd to me. I don't know why. What if I comment? What if I just delete this? And just check if it's W. I don't think that's the reason. Dang, I just closed that again, didn't I? see here. Interesting. Interesting. So it appears that the first time was returning false. And this else if... Oh. Ah, I didn't recompile. Whoops. That's my bad, Jim. Okay, so it's failing. Okay, well that fixes a lot. Figuring out why it's failing would be an excellent plan. Unmute there, buddy. Alrighty. Now I gotta figure out why my UI, my input system is hit it fell down a flight of stairs. So if key pressed, let me do some sanity checks here. Selection is equal to key pressed. Equal to key pressed. It should be equal to selection. You know what? You know what we do here? We say, you get a little silly with it, all right? We say, we go to main, and we debug. And we throw in a breakpoint somewhere. Is my console still up? Yeah, I'll chomp that guy down. Yeah, this is just gonna complete because I didn't throw any breakpoints. Genius plan, man. Genius. Also, this will fail. Yeah, I'm dumb. Instead, we are going to throw a metric ton of S outs. I will say selection here. Or selection. And we'll do S out output. And we will S out key pressed. Alrighty. And these will be prefixed by a debug because I don't know how to do logging. I need to figure out how to do logging. That seems useful. Alright, now time to go back over to the main man. Bam. Get this feller up. Gradle. Build, of course. Get this built. We're running W. The first one failed. Selection is blank. Oh! That's... Oh god, do I love Java. Oh boy. You see this? The double equal sign. That's garbage. Absolute rat trash. Especially when you're using the string class, alright? Let me tell you a little something about the string class. It's a class. It's not a primitive, alright? So, when you drop the hands of a primitive in a gerbil, right? Java is so convolutedly Neolithic that I just can't double equal sign compare. Because it doesn't do the silly little class. It's not comparing primitives, it's comparing strings. So this check actually fails. Believe it or not, I think I had to do dot equals. Yup. Now, let's see all of my problems get mystically fixed because I used a funny thing called dot equals, and not the built-in double equal sign like every other language. That would be easy. That would be kind. But Java's not a kind mistress. Java is a little yeah, look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Fixed it in 2 seconds. Wow. Wow. Absolutely riveting, Java. Thank you, brother. Holy cow. Jeepers creepers, call me weepers. That is just ridiculous. Ah. Gotta love it. Thanks, Java. Really excellent there, Jimmy. Really putting on the pounds, Dear Lord. Nothing can be nice in Java, can it? Alright, I'm just gonna... Can I shift? No, I can't. Yes, I can. No, I can't. Why is this going on? Oh, I can. Okay, I'm gonna leave those commented off for debug purposes, if I ever need them again. Thanks, Java. Really loving you right now, man. Let me see if this works. Alright. Let's go ahead and give this a good old test run. Ah, boy, do I love Java. Oh, buddy. Let's go, brother. Okay, the input system's working now because of a terrible Java feature where if you don't use the double equal signs, you've been cast into the Sath bin's hits of... Excuse me? You've been cast into the fucking pits of hell. Thanks, Java. Excellent little Jimmy John there. Alright, now we are going to say if this, we are going to int, okay. I think I want to split these up, because if we exceed it, I just want to set it back to 0. And if we over exceed it, I want to set it to the max. I think that's a good plan. Let me, else. So if we were to exceed it, let me think about this. If I'm not looping, so, excuse me, if I, let's say, you know, we, okay, let me, it's cranking here, bro. It's going, it'll be there in a second. Let's give this the good old switcheroo. Excuse me. Let's hit this with the Jimmy John's, etc. plus. The good old switch-arounder. The Schrödinger. Okay, and if we exceed this, then we want to say int. I want to say index selection is equal to 0. So if we exceed the maximum amount, else, we will just plus 1. Oh, whoops. Like that. I think this is a pretty good plan. Let me yoinky sploinky this guy. Get this guy out of here. And we'll do the same thing. Oh. We'll do the same thing for S down here. So if it's not W, we'll say else if, because why run the code if it doesn't need to be? I think this is on the right thing. It appears so. Let me get this because C#'s appear here. Let's see here. Let's go ahead and throw this fella in here. Inputs. Dot pressed. Let's go ahead and get that good old S-man in there. Equal to true. All right. And so we'll do the same thing. Whoopsie daisy. Oh man, I just accidentally deleted it. What the heck's going on? Why is it being so silly? IntelliJ. Come on, Jimmy. Ah, shucks. Now, will you stop auto-formatting my code, you little gremlin? I never asked for this. You pint-sized gerbil. Alright, let's go ahead and crack out. So if index selection is a... it'll pop into the brain in a second. If index selection -1 is equal to 0. Oh yeah. Incredibilis. So if we pressed S and the index selection -1 is greater than, is less than 0, then we want to say index selection is equal to the options list dot length. So we just set it to the max. So we're creating a looping, and if it's not, then we just subtract. Oh, shucks. So I think that solves a lot of our issues. Is minus minus an operator? It sure is. Look at that. Look at all the progress we're making. Nice. So we have UI input done, and then this should not return void. This should return a int. And then we will go down here, and we will say, after all of this is done, we should, at the very end of this, we should return index selection. I think is what we should do. And then here, when we call selection, is a space considered a character? This is what we must ask. Let me add that. And let me go to input. And let's go ahead here and let's say input, or what's this called? What's that? What did I call that function? Input UI. Let's call input UI. And let's say int selection. Beautiful, beautiful. And then here we can say in selection, what do I want to throw in this guy? So selection should interesting. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, here we go. I think what I want to do is I want to run... Oh yeah, okay. Let me do this. So this will say function, func.run. So, if you think about it, we loop this. Let me think of, okay. We want to loop the UI until we press enter. So we want one more else if, and that's if the input dot pressed is a space, then we want it equal to true, as equal to true. Then we want to return the index selection. Else we want to loop. Yeah, I think that's what I want to do. While oh god, this is cursed. We're getting a little scary here. So if I do that, so this will loop forever until we get a this. We get an empty. Oh, actually, I don't want a space there. We go to input and make sure that's right. So this can be blank. I will have this be a space. So we have a selection of options that we will loop through until we press enter. And it will return an index. And then here we will get an index for what we selected. Then we will run the function associated with that option. I don't think I want this here. I think I want this in the constructor for a UI. So for every option, I can have a lambda that runs a function. I think, yeah. Ah, my fucking soul, my cursed, my goddamn, you bastard, you go straight to hell. You son of a bitch, you, oh my god. You about made me had a heart attack. You know I'm live streaming. You probably just fucking... Oh my Christ.
I've been listening for a minute. I was petting my cat. She gets lonely at night, but I had the door open and I didn't want to be making too much noise with the door.
Dear Lord. I am never going to recover from this. Oh my God. How is that so loud? That was like 9 octaves above where it should have been.
That's your sound effect. That is your sound effect from your Flax Magic server.
I was not prepared for that. I'm using lambdas, Jack. Are you proud?
Yes.
I haven't set it up yet, but I'm trying to figure out how. I'm trying to... So when I make a selection on the UI, I want to run a lambda. And I'm debating if that should be in the constructor of the UI component. So like every new UI I make, it comes with a string of options. And depending on the index you select, it will run a lambda corresponding to that option. But I'm trying to figure out...
I think that modern switch statement structure might even allow for that kind of natively.
The thing is that I want it entirely self-contained in here. Can you see my screen, or do you want me to screen share?
What's the stream? I was actually trying to find it.
I sent it in chat. It's making a terrible console game in Java.
Ah. In fact, the Gunmetal Black GitHub account links to a different YouTube channel than this.
Yes, I know. Well, I wasn't originally going to stream on this one, but it just happened to be that way. How's the audio quality, Jimmy? Is it good or bad or sad?
Your audio quality is very good. Mine sounds like shit.
Oh.
I think they're Discord.
Nah, that's...
Discord.
I think it could be. So I'm trying to figure out how to get... how I want to do lambdas here. Should it be in the constructor, or should it be something I pass down in selection? So when I make when I select something, I'm trying to decide if I want how I do this, because I have a bunch of strings, but they don't innately have a lambda attached to them. So I almost want to make something that will create a lambda every single time it goes over an option. Can I do that and have it be linked? How could I do that?
What do you mean by create a lambda? Like,
so,
a lambda is just a way of defining a function.
Yeah, okay. What the idea is that I will pass in a list of options, which are strings, a list of strings, and for every string, it will make a lambda that you can, or you could pass in to. So let's say you make a selection and it runs that lambda that you did. I'm trying to think how I want to do that. I guess I just, I pass it in as, yeah, I think that's the only way I can do it. Let me, so when you make a selection, it will call this input UI, you'll loop over the list, you'll enter that selection, and then you will call a function. The problem is I don't know how to, I need to make the selection run the right lambda.
I feel like that's just what the chain is for, right?
No. This returns the index of the option list. So like if I select, I will eventually have something that talks to the renderer and have it draw out a UI. but this will loop through all the options of the option list. So I could select something, but it doesn't mean I'm trying to figure out how to also select the lambda. I could make a list of lambdas and have the indexes correspond, but I feel like that's a little cringe.
You could also just not use lambdas at all, define functions to do the things, and I guess why are you specifically wanting to use lambdas? Are the functions like super short or something?
Well, I want it to be so. Here's the idea. I want it to be self-contained. So like I want to just be able to create a UI class for every menu I want. So let's say I don't want to have like 5 billion pre-named functions that all go to one menu. That just seems dumb. So I want some unnamed function that runs when I want to call on a specific option. So a lambda, in my opinion, is the best way to do that.
Does lambdas still have to exist at compile time?
Yes, but they won't be named, and they only run once. Unless I call the UI element again. I don't want a bunch of named functions that just do one-off tasks, if that makes sense. Isn't that what lambdas are used for?
Yeah.
Okay.
And they're used for all kinds of things. Basically, yeah, if you've got... If there's something that... Most common thing I use lambdas for is being able to pass data around. So if I don't want to run some code right now, but I want to save it to be run later, that is how a function is supposed to work. But it's a very small amount of code. I don't want to define an entire function just because I'm happening to pass it around right now.
Yeah. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to make a list of runnable functions, have you create both of them, and just, you have to make sure their indexes line up. So like you write a start string for an option, and then... Is
there a reason you don't just like inline the function? Like just take the content you would put in the function and just like copy paste execute it immediately whenever you see the thing?
What do you mean?
Okay, I figured out that selection is 0. So I could have, if selection is 0, move forward.
What do you mean?
I assume W here...
Oh, no, this is just looping through a menu. So, like, let's say I have something that looks like this. I am just working on menus, because I'm not actually working on the game yet. So like selection will look like this. So you have like start, you have back, like just terrible menu. And then it looks like something like this. And input, I press W, it will loop back to well, that's if it's, so like if I press W currently, it would loop back to the length of the list, which is 2.
So it's up and down.
Yeah, that I just using WS and D for everything. So W and S is just up and down on the menu. If you press enter, it selects yeah.
Okay. So the thing still applies though. Like instead of having a function to, like this is the function that gets called whenever W is pressed, you could just immediately when you detect W, do the behavior that you want. Like
no. That's if I have a start selection, right? I don't want to just, when I press W, I don't immediately want to call start. I want to be able to go to back. And if I press enter and select back, I then want to run the function that does back. Or if I have like the card game portion and I have like attack and I hover over it, I don't want it to select it until I press enter, right? That would be a dumb menu decision. Or if I had, I don't know, flee or something. Right? And then X was here, or this would be blank, and then I press W, and it would cycle. It would go from that to here. And then if I press enter, it runs a function.
You have a parameterized list here for options, and you've got them set to just strings right now?
Yes.
I would make a new class called menu option, and take an array of menu options, and then that class can hold the string, and it can hold the runnable. So that way, like, at construction time, you can define what the button should do.
Oh boy. We're getting lost in the sauce of...
Singular menu option, not menu options. This isn't going to be a list. This is just a data structure. Sorry about the name of the class. Yeah. Keep in mind, I am watching a slightly delayed copy of your stream, so if...
Oh, yes. Let me... So this is getting yoinked from the UI class?
I would go back to it.
Oh, I see. I'm adding in the menu option as a replacement, so...
You're just replacing string array with menu option array.
And then it wants a list of runnables, I suppose?
No. A menu option is just a single entry in that list.
Oh, so I'm taking in a list of menu options.
Yes.
I see.
Then, yeah, so within here, yeah, you've just got a string, which is the, like, name, and then you have a runnable, which is the action. And then you take a list of menu options in the UI. Object-oriented program.
It's pretty nice, actually. It's starting to grow on me.
What you're doing now is actually mostly just a data structure. You can do that in C.
Yeah, I know. I mean, this feels pretty nice. I came across my first issue. I was using double equals here, and I spent like 20 minutes trying to figure it out.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Yeah, welcome to Java.
Yeah, I went on a rant. I went on a, because I was doing this, and I was realizing, wow, this is failing. This check here is failing. That's dumb. So, you know. I also did this. This is cool. It's a hash map of strings. Yeah, I know. I was getting work done. I did added some functionality to some stuff. But other than that, I haven't been streaming for that long. I've been passed out for like... I went back to sleep and slept till 10. So... As soon as you muted, I was like, yeah, I'll talk to... I'll call back later, Jack. I'm going to sleep. And then I was like, yeah, quick 10-minute nap. Slept till 10 p.m. Not ideal. Woke up, like, severely dehydrated. Didn't know where I was at. Like, one of those.
You capitalized all of the field names on your menu option class. That's the C# way, not the Java way.
Oh. So, I'll just get rid of...
Name and action should both be lowercase. The class name itself should... You get that right.
Wait, do what now?
Within the menu option class, you named name and action with capital N and capital A. They should be all lowercase.
Cursed.
It's not cursed at all. I actually really dislike the C# naming scheme, because if you have like a long chain of like words separated by dots and you get to the last one, in Java you will always know whether or not that's a static member or if it's a class based off the naming scheme. But in C# you don't. It's namespaces, classes, and fields all have the exact same naming convention.
Oh, this is genius, Jack. So, options list index. Yep. This is fine. So, when I get to here, I could say the selection is equal to input, and then here, instead of saying func run, I can call menu option or options list, and then I can get the selection, and then I could say dot action. That's genius. And this isn't a boolean anymore. This should be a void. That's Gigabrain. I think this works. So every menu option has a name and an function,
Yeah,
an action.
And if for whatever reason you wanted a menu option that did nothing, you could just provide a lambda that just returns.
I see. This is big brain time. Now I need to work with the renderer to get it to properly draw a... Do I want rendering of a menu to occur in here? I guess that makes sense. Like render options, I suppose. What do you think? I would take that as a yes. Yeah, I guess it does make sense for the rendering to occur in here. So, public void.
I have a class called render, which is my only slight reservation on that.
Yes.
But I haven't been watching you make this whole thing, so I don't really know.
I mean, yes, this does exist, but this here... this has access to all of its values internally, so I feel like it makes sense for a menu to have its... eventually, I'll have something called engine at some point that uses, you know, that does all the jazz, and that this will be fed into. So that we'll have a rendering batch, like it'll do main game, then UI, then whatever.
I think that makes sense.
So I want to loop. Ooh. Does renderer have a new line function? No, it doesn't. I feel like it's dumb to have this have two functions, but one just prints a new line.
You could... I wouldn't copy-paste the whole function. I would just have the new line one call the other one, and then call, like...
Oh, yeah, that's valid. Oh, God. Ugh. It's so gross. Do I have to pass parameter into this?
The print line? No.
Oh, nice. So how's it been going, Jack?
Good.
Did you sleep well?
I did sleep well. Yeah, my phone battery is low, which is unfortunate.
Oh God. For int equal I. Wait. Int I equal. Do I know how to write a for loop from scratch? We will see. I less than 0. Or I no. I think that's right. Oh, no, I need, whoops, I need option list dot length. So for every option list, we want to...
For the record, if you don't care about the indices, you actually don't need to use a traditional for loop. You could do for option option list, and then it just doesn't enhance for loop C# style.
Benefit.
Benefit, the code looks cleaner and you don't have to worry about having an I variable. Downside, you no longer have an I variable, so if you care about the index, then it doesn't
I mean,
work.
I do need to... So, based off of a selected one, I need to have a special draw for it.
Is that based on the index, or do you just need access to the object?
It's based off of index.
Okay, then you do want the I. You should have int I equals 0 at the beginning. Other than that all looks good. So if int I equals 1. Because, like, if you're using those as array indices, then, like, number 0 should get you the first element in the list.
I've noticed, I've considered a flaw. So, if I'm looping to update this every single time, this here is in its own while loop until I make a selection. So how do I convey an update to this? How do I redraw the menu without...
Having a blocking input function is kind of inherently a bad idea. I would say try to...
don't know a way around it, Jambo. I know we did something sketch before, where it would remember its last input.
Okay, wait. Okay. What you have effectively done is you have put the primary game loop inside of your UI function.
This is only for menus. Once the menu is done, it kills. It's done.
Okay, but you should still, like, you shouldn't be handling input detection logic on an ad hoc basis just every, like, you shouldn't have, like, an input handler for the UI and an input handler for the game. You should be detecting... for a real-time application, what you probably want is to have a main loop that's just constantly looping, and every time it checks for input and draws a frame. Maybe it doesn't draw a frame. If you decide, hey, I don't need to change anything, it's already good, then you can skip that part. You want to detect input, and you want to draw a frame.
Okay. I could... Okay. I'm trying to think. Because... how would I isolate... Because, like, I need input for different things. So what I could do is I could make an engine class and have a draw function. And that draw function just, draws to the screen. So no matter where I am, I can call that...
in your render class.
Yeah. So no matter where I am, I can call draw, and it will refresh the screen.
I wouldn't do that. I would try to centralize as much control over when stuff like that happens to the top as you possibly can. So instead of delegating all these tasks out to, like, oh, the UI and the gameplay and the whatever, and any of them can render whenever they want, like, there should be given an explicit opportunity where there's a main render function that's called once every loop, and that render function will iterate over all the possible things that could need rendered, which is the currently open UI, the current level that's open, etc., and it'll just call the render functions in order.
Okay, I have considered... This is what I did with Seekis. I had a list of objects, of objects, which were just strings, because my entire UI is strings. And it will create a queue. It will put a queue on the renderer, and it will go through and render each of the objects. But there's a problem with that. I don't know. I'm trying to think of a way to, because
what you have here is a function you've already written called render menu options. I think your main renderer should call that in its render loop. And then
but
also think
the thing is, it's going to be unique to each object of menu.
What do you mean?
So, like, I could have 9 different menus. How do I decide which one to render?
You would need to maintain some sort of variable that keeps track of which one, or potentially ones, are currently open. Like, you could have stack menus. Usually the way that's handled would probably be a stack. You have things being rendered, and you render the farthest away thing first, and then you draw the thing on top of it, and then you draw the thing on top of it. Just keep going.
Okay. Where would I do this at?
I would inside. I would have the keeping track of what's currently open inside of main, and then I would have the logic for calling that inside of render.
What would I call this? Render stack? What is this? Just an array of objects?
I know the answer to this. I'm torn over how much of this architecture I want to just describe to you. I have a history of giving you overly complicated ways of accomplishing things. The way I would do this is that I would make an interface called renderable, and I would have UI extend that interface. And whenever you move on to like the game world and other shit, I would also have that extend the interface, implement the interface. Sorry, it's Java. And then you could just have an array of, or not an array, a stack specifically. That interface type, you could then just go through on the top. Normal.
And so if I want to render something, I add that to the stack?
Yes.
I see. How do I make an interface?
Same way you make a class.
I see it now. Renderable. And what do I do in this interface?
I would define a single method called render. Now I would just have it be, void and take no parameters probably, but you can do that in the future. And I would not put brackets, I would just do a semicolon. The point of using an interface in this case is that you are not going to actually define render behavior at the interface level. You're going to...
Why is this mad?
Static doesn't make any sense in the context of an interface, and public is just unnecessary because everything is inherent. Yeah, it has to be public. You don't need to write the word public.
I got rid of it.
Nice.
So here, what do I do then? Do I pass a string that I construct to tell it to render? Or...
I would, instead of render menu options, I would just name that render, and then I would also add the add override decorator to it to make it clear that you're implementing that interface with that function.
This is kind of cool. I never thought I could do this in Java.
Well, there you go. And I actually think the logic you had just now is completely fine.
But the thing is that I would directly print a screen what I was planning. But directly printing would be essentially rendering. How do
I think that's fine. I think it's just the key distinction. I'm not saying there shouldn't be code in here to describe how to write to the screen. What I was saying is that this code shouldn't decide when that happens. So this render function can be defined here. It just shouldn't be called from here. It should be called by the renderer.
Oh, so the renderer will go through each stack and call all of these functions separately? That's genius, I think. Right? Am I right? Or am I wrong?
I mean, I like it. That's why I told you to do it. But
that's so much smarter than what I was planning. Having input UI here is innately dumb. I think I should just directly
on line
call.
36, you need to do int I equals 0.
Let me... Hold on, I'm doing some silly gooseness. Just straight up call that, because if we're doing that, we want to select it. What? Ah, yes. I need to just pass index selection. Here, int selection.
When would that final branch ever trigger?
What are you talking about?
If the input pressed is an empty string? In 27.
What about it?
When would that branch ever get called?
If I just press enter? Yeah, it's just no key was pressed. So if I press enter, I'll have instructions written to tell you how to navigate menus. Probably rendered somewhere on the side, but...
I'm just confused how in code that works, I mean, like... That's not what would trigger for enter, right? That's specifically triggering for...
I mean, if you press enter, it's going to be empty.
Oh! Wait, so you have to press enter after all of these?
Yes. I don't know...
It's a jank way to navigate a menu.
I mean, yeah, but I don't know another way to do that, do you?
I actually don't think you're requiring that. Using the standard API. Leave it the way it is for now. I would have to think about that. I've not worked too much with the tool.
Now I need to actually implement the rendering fully now, because I can't test the UI renderer if I can't render it. So...
The way I would do it for testing is just inside of main, I would just directly instantiate a UI and call render on it.
How would I do this? I forgot how to make UI start menu.
You put the type first, so it's UI, and you name the variable, then equals new UI.
And then how do I do the constructor takes a list of menu options. So up here I need menu option, start menu options. Oh god, this is already getting convoluted. Equals new menu options. Menu option. Oh boy. I need to make this a list. Like that. And then how do I do a list of menu options on the right?
You would put curly brackets around the left and right side of the new menu option thing.
Like this?
And then it's a comma separated list. No. You would need to have the new keyword for every item in the list.
Like this?
The curly brackets go around the entire right-hand side, not just after menu option. Keep in mind I'm watching a delayed copy of this.
Oh, I see. Like this?
Okay.
Okay, so hypothetically, I wanted one with, start. And... oh, lambda, how do? I think it's this.
It's open parenthesis, close parenthesis, arrow, and then you just immediately type out the thing you want to run. So in this case, I would probably just... You could either have it do nothing, or you could have it, like, print something. Having it print something is going to be kind of janky, obviously, because... Yeah, wondering, but... I'd probably start with having it do nothing, and then you can...
How do you do logging? Because logging would be immensely usable. Like, immensely beneficial. Because I could log something without it printing to the screen.
I mean, if you want to do it yourself, you just... into a file. I'm pretty sure you've done that in Java classes before.
Yeah, but I feel like that's just overkill. Why waste the option? Because writing to a file, that takes... I have to wait for it to write, and a whole bunch of other... And I have to close it. I don't know, it just seems very...
That's what logging is creating a file.
Is it?
I mean, like...
Like, official Java log.
Like, the most common Java logging library is log4j, which you will infamously recall was responsible for that arbitrary code execution vulnerability in, like, all of the things a year or two ago.
Yes.
Including Minecraft. So, if you wanted to, you could install that library and just use log4j. But yes, what logging is useful for is that you, like, in a real-time application, if you've got a window rendering, then you can just use the standard output, like terminal, as your log. But then you would probably also be saving it to a file. In this case, since the terminal itself is your game environment, you can't really log to that, so I would just log only to the file. You're right that, like, I.O. is a relatively slow operation, but you are writing a terminal game, so you don't need to care.
That's fair. How to do?
You would need a utility function to do that, probably. There's good and bad ways of doing this. The lazy way, I think, would probably be to have a function that just opens up a file with a predefined path, appends your message to the end of it, and then closes the file. Downside of that is that you're constantly opening the file and then closing it again. And every time you open that file, that's some time that you're burning talking to the operating system. Especially for testing purposes, I don't think it matters.
Alright, where do I want to put this?
Honestly, potentially a new class.
Oh my god, I have so many classes.
Well, you've got like 7.
I mean, that's a couple classes there, Jambo. Public.
I'd like to take a quick little journey to icbm.jdark3636.com.
Yeah, but that's Minecraft vomit. I mean, that's just Satan's pit of sadness.
That reminds me, I was looking for...
So what I guess this takes a string as a parameter. To log. And then I don't know how to do file operations. Google, here I come. I've been out of water and I've been drinking a lot of milk because that's apparently, for some reason, I have milk in my fridge that just, it's oat milk, so it just never expires.
See.
I ate Chinese food for $10. Best choice of my life. What was funny?
I'm saying best choice of my life for eating Chinese food.
I love Chinese food. It was $10 for an exceeding amount of food. And I hadn't eaten all day. I woke up, talked to you, fell asleep, and... oh no.
Probably don't show this on stream because it's a pretty hard docs. But you had mentioned input handling, like, you know, you were detecting all the different, like, WASD stuff. It reminded me of that code that I wrote for a college project a couple years ago.
Oh yeah, nothing, well, I have hardcore stream cap. Oh my god, what the hell?
That is a lobotomized Java enum.
Why?
You can define because enums are technically classes, you can define a constructor, which I did at the bottom, and I also defined a field. And so basically, that constructor takes a lambda. So instead of just a comma-separated list, it's a comma-separated list of lambdas, basically. So we were doing, like, network operations, and this is just how we define the behavior for every packet type. We just had a big-ass enum that you could look into, and then if it wasn't in the enum, then... yeah.
Sorry, I was just admiring how terrible this is. They have me input a string to a function to determine its functionality. That is grunt. That is literally grunt. Oh, this is how to write in Python, not Java. God, I thought it was too easy.
Yeah, I think I'm trying to. I think there's a. I think Java might have like a special file writer thing. Honestly,
it does.
It's been a minute. I would
gross.
probably ChatGPT this shit if I'm being honest. That's the way I go about it. But I have had to write this from scratch before. It's been a minute though. The reason is that it's kind of a similar design philosophy to C++, where the file is perceived as a stream object, and then you have to act on the stream object. So you have to first use a class that takes in a file name and then represents the stream. Then you have another thing that you pass that instance to, then actually does something useful with the stream. It's always requiring 2 layers.
Do I have to make a file, or will it make one if it doesn't exist?
It'll depend on the flags you pass in.
Something called buffered writer. File path equals true. Why is this mad?
This isn't that bad.
Oh, no. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Okay, cool. I think this is all I need. I think that's it.
It's actually crazy. I just ran this through ChatGPT and got, like, a near identical code output to what you have.
Interesting.
it's a different, like, the line 18 you got, like, string appended to the file successfully. Mine has a different pointless thing that you don't want to print.
Oh yeah, I don't want to system out anything.
Yep. I would leave the one in the exception handler, but...
Cool.
That structure, by the way, where the try is followed by parentheses instead of directly by curly braces is called try with resources. It's similar to the with keyword in Python. Anything in there will get automatically freed up. Or I think it's called close something on it. But normally with Java, you would have to like manually declare, okay, I'm done with the file, please close the stream. When it's in the try with resources structure, as soon as you exit that, lock it automatically closes everything for you.
Oh lord. And then I think all I do now is start menu dot input up. Yeah, I think that's it. I mean, to be fair, this is a pretty nice generative UI system, I think.
By the way, those lambdas that you're writing, you don't actually need the curly brackets around them. You can just arrow and then direct to the command. You don't need the semicolon inside the bracket either.
Nice.
Clear up a little bit of syntax. If you wanted to have more than one statement, then you would need that, but for just simple one-liners...
I'm pretty proud of myself for writing this. Well, I mean, you helped quite a bit, but... I mean, this is baby stuff, I guess.
For like 10 minutes or something.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, line 36, you still need to swap that 1 for a 0. It's computers, we don't count from 1.
Alright, rendering time. Oh, see, now this brings into the question... Let's say I wanted in big bold letters start at the top, right? Do I don't do that in here.
You consider that part of the UI or no?
I mean, it's a part of the menu, but it's static. Like, I don't want it to be in every single one I render.
That sounds like you need another parameter. Currently you've got options that you're taking in, but you probably also want a string for title or something.
I mean, I do also want details at some point. Would that be a, like, what would that be? I guess that would be just a...
If there's a unique one for every menu option, so like an explanation of what something does, then it should go in the menu option class. If there's only one for the entire menu, like a title, then you should just add an extra field to the class you're already in, and then add that as a constructor parameter.
But the thing is there would have to be custom positions for every single one. So how would I do that?
Wouldn't all just be like at the top?
I'm sorry?
Wouldn't just all be at the top? Where else would you put the title?
No, like, if I wanted to do, like, explanations and stuff for stats, they would have to be at specific positions. Because at some point...
I would imagine those would be in the same position every time and just vary based on which thing you're currently hovering over.
Oh, I see. Yeah, so, like, distribute the bottom right corner for information.
Something like that.
Because at some point, this is going to implement cards. Because, yeah. So, I guess that would be a different batch. So it would render the UI and then it would render the cards on top of it?
Would probably want want the cards below the UI, I would think.
I mean, either or. Yeah, that's just future stuff. Let's section out a menu for information. Hard code. Oh boy. Now we are forcing set resolutions. So what should the max resolution of this be? Because this is only so many renderer. You get what I'm saying.
Ideally, that would be dynamically calculated based on the current size of the terminal. I don't know how to do that, so I would just hard code it to a number you think makes sense for now and worry about that later. By hard code, I mean have a variable that's hard coded that could theoretically be changed.
I'm trying to think of how, because these take a column and row position to draw an image, and that image could be in, so like, for example, if I go to ASCII images, this is not one character. This is a lot of characters.
Yep.
So I guess
can't tell what the hell that is, but maybe it's just because
when you print it, it says start. It's pretty pretty. But the thing is I guess you could run the game in two options. You can run it in high fidelity graphics, or you can run it in plain text, where it's just individual characters.
Could. Or you could just... I mean, that's not that wide. I think you could probably just have a minimum terminal resolution.
I don't know. I know you can set a minimum terminal resolution in, like, a run.bat file. So...
And that's kind of platform specific. That would ideally not be the solution. But yeah, I don't know. I would... The bigger thing to me isn't just like, oh, what's the maximum width I could get away with? It's more the aspect ratio. So as you're starting to render something that you want to take up the full screen, some sort of repeating, like, tiling background pattern or something, then that could become an issue. If you wanted to center something, then you would need to know how wide everything is. But, yeah, I think you'll be fine to just... something like that, and assume there's space.
Oh, there's a Java library called JLine2 that will tell me the width and height of my console. And it's cross-platform, it looks like. And apparently, you can do it with escape codes.
That's cool.
I can request the current cursor position. So, okay, this could be really cursed. Hold on.
That also sounds like a potential solution to your problem where you're currently having to press enter after every input.
What do you mean?
You could get some deeper level control, like if you could detect where the cursor position is, You could just trigger, like, you could just sit there in a loop waiting for the position to change.
Well, I have to tell it to change.
You can't read the cursor position?
I can read the cursor position, but it goes wherever I draw or write or tell it to read. Not the mouse cursor, the console cursor.
Okay, but whenever the user is typing into the console, that will also move the cursor.
I suppose.
So then you could detect that.
But it also moves when it draws. Or writes, or prints, I'm sorry.
Yeah, but like, you get to the input phase of your game loop, you can sit there, just wait, while true, and just check for if the cursor position has changed. And then, as soon as it has changed, you go back to where that would have been.
How do I separate that into options? I just know when it's changed.
Then you would go back to the position where the cursor was before it changed, and you would read whatever character's there.
But
if it's a W, you'd go up. If it's an S, you'd go down.
Well, I can't read what the cursor's on. I can read its position. I don't know what the cursor is hovering over.
It seems suspect to me that you wouldn't be able to... I don't know what the... I mean...
The only reason I know that is because this guy said I can use escape codes, which I posted in Discord, that I can query the console size, but they do have a command for requesting current cursor position. By moving the cursor to a really high or low column and requesting the cursor position, you can get an accurate measurement. So, like, I can move it to its max, and it will go to the highest maximum width and length of the cursor.
This, by the way, is the longer, more complete list of escape codes that I have been looking at before.
Oh, nice. So what to do from here? What do you mean? What? Do I try to find out a way to get the console to properly read, or do I set a minimum size? Do I not care?
I would continue with what you were currently working on of just trying to get the menu options to render.
That's fair. Okay, do I want, information? I think I do.
I wouldn't bother with it yet. You can always add functionality.
That's fair.
Just the thing to render. I think you probably do want to have a little bit of state. You want to remember what the current... Actually, you already have that index selection. That the field you're currently storing, like, what the currently selected thing.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, you probably want to send an escape code to have that, like, highlighted or something. Change the background color. Or just change the color of it at all. Like, maybe make the others gray and make that one white.
Yeah, I can do that pretty easily, actually. So let me drop an if statement in here. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Brain, please function at a higher level than 2 somethings per minute down a flight of stairs. It'll come in a second. Uno momento, por favor. What am I checking? If, options... If, I don't need that, actually. Yes, I do. I need to check... I need to tell it when to highlight and when not to highlight. Oh. If options list... Oh, no. I need the index selection. Oh, shit. Is that not... Can I not... Is this not a public variable? No, it's not. Let's make that. Bonk. Oh, shit. Let's put this up here. That's there. And then let's say index selection. If index selection is equal to... Ah, man, my brain is not working. Oh, I know what to do. Okay, if option list, or I guess I want I. If I is equal, if index selection is equal to I, so if, let's say option 3 is equal to I, when we're on the third option, then we want to, thank God, thank you, brain, holy cow, brother, and, whew, thank you, oh, man, that was cooking for a second. I want print to screen new line, and then I want to do option list, and then give me, and then I want the name. Why is this not happy? Oh, it takes 3 arguments. Shucks.
It's actually a really good, tutorial too. It's a guy writing like basically a command line text editor from scratch using anti-escape codes.
I guess I want it to draw the options at whatever current position the cursor is in. Does that make sense?
Probably, yeah, I don't know.
So if that's true, then I just S out. I don't render at a current position. Because I just want it to print wherever it can. But if I do it that way, I can't do color. I mean, I can, it's just... Yeah, I think I want to do it that way, because printing in a specific position doesn't really help me here. Because it's just a new line. Oops. So, if I do... plus yellow, or colors dot background yellow, if index is not, then we will say else, and we will S out.
So this entire function is exhibit A for why I don't put my opening curly bracket on a new line. How many lines of source code are being burned to nothing but...
What's the... Oh, reset. There we go. I think that's good. I think that's it. I think this works. Holy cow. After thousands of years. Bam, let me crack this guy open like a cold one on a Tuesday afternoon. Oh, I am never rendering. That would explain.
That seems important.
Yeah. Do I render before I make a selection or after? Because if you think about it...
For now, you're just testing. I don't know if it matters that like I mentioned before, I think longer term you need to move all of the input handling out of the UI class, so all of the input handling would be handled in this main area. But for now, I would say probably just go back to UI, and then at the end of your while loop, add a call to render.
Is that going to be okay? No. Visual statement. Oh. And then options. Yeah, that's fine. Is the video quality good? Okay, great start. Oh, interesting. Oh, we should cancel. Let me do that. First off, let me go in here, and when we start, we will call render clear. Just doing some housekeeping. And then we will call render every time we go. Let me render first, selection, then render again. Do I want the escape code for color before or after?
Definitely before. That's what the color affects until you get reset. So it starts when you send the character, and it ends whenever you send a reset.
Oh, so it'll go away if I reset after?
The color code starts its effect as soon as you type it.
Oh, I see.
And it stops its effect whenever you send a reset.
Let's go. Okay, the options aren't switching for some reason. Oh dear. Okay, now it did back. Oh god, why is it so broken? Now we have no color, but it's still working. Let me add a third option. Oh wait, let's see if the logging's working. I don't think the logging's working. Shit. I render, do this stuff.
Does the issue that the file doesn't already exist?
No, it said it should make one. ChatGPT did, though. ChatGPT could just be lying.
Can you... You've got a terminal covering most of your screen, so it's hard for me to...
You saw how horrendously broken. I am rendering first, and I only clear the screen once. So...
I mean, what you probably want to be doing is clearing the screen every time. I mean, normally none of this would be handled in this
I know why
class.
logging isn't working. It's because I'm just never getting called.
That seems important, yeah.
Oh wait, no, it should be getting called.
Where?
If it's blank. Oh, I never pressed enter. Dumb. I'm dumb. Yeah, it was never getting called. Checks out. Does this code look right? So if index +1 is less than... That is wrong. If it's greater than option list length, then we set it equal to 0. Oh, yeah, that was fucked. That checks out.
Oh, are you using this? I hadn't even read this. You're using this as a way to, like, implement
Cycle.
rollover?
Yeah.
The way I would personally do this is I would just, in the conditionals, I would just always add or always subtract. Don't care if you get a negative number or one that's too high. And then after all of the input's been processed, I would add a single extra if check for, like, if number too big, then set it to the lowest one. If number too small, set it to the biggest one.
Essentially, that's what I did. It's just so if I press W, if it's +1 and it's greater than 0, equal it to 0. Else, just
where
add.
yours gets more complicated is that, like, if you, let's say you had 5 menu options, then now the code for the top and bottom one looks weird, whereas the rest are really simple. As the one I'm saying, it's a big ass loop where the code would be identical for every single menu option, regardless of what position it's in. And then it's just an extra little check you put at the end. It's up to you. I don't know. To me, that would just be easier to read and maintain because you don't have to think about where things are being rendered.
I see. Oh, yeah, it's working now. Oh, if I press W again, it breaks. Start is not selected.
You press S, does it go back? It might just be that the rollover isn't handling the way you are hoping.
For some reason, I have to press S twice.
I only have to press W once.
Yeah, I noticed that. So, if I press enter here, it's running something. It should be. Let me kill that. And let me look for a file. I see no file. Excellent.
Go to your logger code.
Wait, do I have to do present directory? Like this?
I can't see jack shit because you've got a terminal covering most of this.
I just set it to present directory. Before it was just log.txt.
That shouldn't matter.
It should be throwing an exception. Which makes me think something isn't running.
Where are you calling this function from? Okay, these are the menu actions.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And then in UI, when I make a selection, if it's blank, it should, you know. I think one of these is returning false, and it's going to.
What does selection index selection do? Hold on, I don't understand that line of code, line 29. What is selection?
Oh, it just calls this function.
I'm waiting for the stream to catch up. Oh, you named a function with a capital letter. Okay, that's the cardinal sin. I thought you were instantiating a class. That's why the Java convention is better! Because line 29 looks like a class instantiation when it's supposed to be a fucking function call. Because it's a capital S.
Question. I know exactly why I'm getting more than one prompt. Because if input pressed is equal to W, and it's false, it will just go to the next one. And will prompt me again.
Oh, yeah, that totally makes sense. You want to do, Oh, yeah. Okay. For architecture, for detecting... And so input.press shouldn't be returning a boolean. It should get no parameters and return a key. And then you can form your logic on that key.
Okay. So that changes things.
Not much, but...
Yeah. What do I guess I just return key pressed, and then...
Yeah, but that's the parameter you're taking.
Oh, I mean select...
You return output, I think.
Well, I'm checking... See what I'm doing here? I'm checking... So I pass in a variable. It checks if the output and key pressed are the same, and then it returns selection.
Exactly. Calling it output is kind of weird because it's actually the input the user's giving. Yes, so you just want to return output. You should never, there shouldn't be a parameter for key pressed. Because then you're just losing information down the line.
This goes 2. And so I just want to return output.
Yeah. Also, I don't know why that whole switch thing exists.
Well, originally I was going to use it, and this was going to return. So this was going to fail because if it's a key that's not pressed, it will send something somewhere to say, "Hey, that's not an option." But you know, yeah. Yeah. Why are you pissy? Oh. Why are you angry? I don't understand why it's angry. Maybe otherwhere? Yeah. So if this is equal to W, or I know what I can do. I will go up here and say string selection or inputs is equal to inputs. And then here I can say input if input is equal to W, if input is equal to why is it mad? If that's understandable. There we go. Now all's right with the world. God damn it, I have to do dot equals. I feel like it's immensely silly for Java to not have dot equals work as every other language in existence. Hello?
Yeah.
There.
I mean, JavaScript is worse. You have to use 3.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
And I mean, it kind of makes it, because they do provide different functionality. Like, there are circumstances where you would deliberately want to use the double equals operator instead of calling dot equals.
Why is input Java mad? Oh, well, that would do it.
The problem they have is that they reverse them. The most common thing you want to do should probably be the equals operator. Because Java did it the other way around, where almost all the time you want to write out equals, and there are very, very rare circumstances where you might want to delete.
Jack, you want to know a major L? I've worked at 7:30.
That's fun.
Okay, so it's having some oddness, but it appears to be working.
Had one iteration where neither was highlighted.
Yes, I see that. Some jank is happening with rendering, and I think it's related to clearing the screen. So if it goes through, and if index is equal to I, it color and resets. Do you see anything innately wrong with this?
You've got a terminal covering all the code, so...
Ah, shucks. Sorry, Jim. This is the code responsible for the funny render.
I see it now. Is there a reason that you're not including the reset as part of the print line call, and you're sending it after the new line?
There is not a reason. That's a good point. I don't know why there's an iteration where it doesn't do the thing. Well, Well, ideally we want to render it once when it first starts, and then because
I would use your logger, add a log to just
I know why.
At the end of that function, always log the resulting input selection index, so we can see if it ever goes above 1.
Should I be setting the index selection 0 every time we loop through? No, that's dumb.
No, because the whole point is to maintain state of where you were.
I think I know why.
Where is index selection even defined?
Right up here.
I'm waiting. I'm on a... Holy shit, the amount line. See, there we go. Okay, yeah, gotcha. I would add between lines 30 and 31, so right before that render call, I would add logger.log index selection.
Oh, how to cast string.
It's cringe that that's
Oh, it's cringe Java. I remember. It's like, it's really dumb. It's really gross. Yeah, value of. Oh, that's so gross.
There's actually several ways I can think of to convert that, but yeah, that's...
So ideally, I want to render twice. Because if I make a selection and this changes, I think this is fine. Let me boot up back the old CMD. By the way, is the stream quality good, bad, or ugly?
Good.
Pretty good?
Very good.
That's good.
It does have black bar at the bottom, which is
yes.
the cropping, obviously.
It got horrendously blurry. Okay. Oh shit, the logger's working. Okay, there's a weird iteration. I might, but it's not doing the weird bar thing anymore after I put render after. Oh, it's only dying when it loops, it looks like. Hold on.
Yeah, so check the log file if one's being created, and then see what the numbers are going up to.
Let me crack open the log file. Oh yeah. 1 2 1 0 2 1 0 1 2.
A value of 2 should never be possible if your code's working right. It should always either be 0 or 1.
Wait, how am I getting 2? What the what? That means something's adding too much.
Index selection...
Maybe it's something to do when it loops.
I think it might just be...
Oh, -1. I need to -1, right? I need to -1 of the length? Or something?
I don't think you need...
Because when I
think the problem is that you're putting the incrementation and decrement inside of else blocks. You should get rid of the else blocks and put those before the if statement. It should increment and then check if that was a mistake, rather than try to, like, preemptively check. Or I think you could remove your, like, -1s and +1s in the parameter. I think, yeah, I don't know. Think about, like, if the current index selection is 1, and I press W, and that the current index selection is 1, 1 plus 1 is 2, 2 is not greater than the options length, it's equal to the options length, so then else is going to get invoked, which is going to bump index selection up from 1 to 2. So either on line 17 you need to remove the +1, or you need to do what I think is the more sensible thing and just do index selection ++ before the if block and then remove the else.
Oh dear. So, something like this?
Waiting for the screen to catch up, but... Exactly like that, yep. I think I want to do the same for the bottom one. Then I also think that it should just be index selection less than 0. I don't think you need the -1 in that case. Line 23. No, line 18 should still have the +1. Line 23 shouldn't have the -1.
I do want to also log the... Doing this, like, simple stuff is way more enjoyable than trying to write in Godot, I must say. Because I make progress so fast. It's like crack.
Addicted to progress.
Addicted to progress. Oh, let's go! Now let's try S. Oh. S, okay. S is broke, it looks like, but W isn't. W works flawlessly. Something is happening with S.
It's possible I was wrong on the removing -1.
We could see in the log. Oh yeah, option length is 2. The length of the list is 2.
That's supposed to be.
Then what? When pressing S, it goes from 0 to 2. That's not right. See, 1, 0, 1 going up and down.
Oh! Yeah, you need to assign it to length of list -1.
Yeah, okay, I'm not insane. I'm not kooky and the crazy puffs. That's not right.
Yeah, so line 24, you need a -1 at the end. Here you go.
I knew I wasn't insane. Let's go. It's working. Now let's try entering a blank screen. I'm gonna assume that worked. I'm gonna open this guy. Okay, it didn't call the function. It didn't call start. It didn't call this. It never said starting when I selected. So... don't know why that happened. Let me go to... oops. So, selection option lists the current index, or index selection. Action.run. That should work, right? Let me double check something here. Let me rebuild. And do this. And let me enter. Let me stop that. Let me open. Yeah. Interesting. I don't know if it's failing to run the blank code or here. Logger.log selected. I low-key want to try to get Skylar into programming. Get the whole gang into the cult.
I'm not sure if you'd really enjoy it. I don't know. There.
I mean, he talks about it quite a bit. Why is this grayed out?
I think he would enjoy the results, like making games. I don't think he would particularly enjoy the process. Yeah. I'm the type of weird person, like, I enjoy just the programming language component of it, right? Like, I like the software engineering work. I don't think he would ever get to that point.
It doesn't look like my selection is working. Where if I like try to enter a blank character, I don't know if it's reading it as blank. Which would be weird, but it didn't log. Oh, duh. It's calling a function before it. Yeah, so if that actually does, it breaks. Let me do that first. I know everybody's looking at a console. I assume that worked. What the shiznit?
I know there's an escape code for the enter key.
There is?
The enter is...
Well, can I read an escape code from the... I wonder what's... Can I see the internal value if I enter nothing? Because this selection isn't occurring. Maybe this dot equals...
As a temporary test, I would check for, like, P or something instead of enter. Just something that's a bit simpler.
Oh, I know an easy way to get around this.
Oh,
but...
actually, I bet it's new line is what you're probably getting. Because you're not reading lines, you're reading individual characters. So yeah, that's almost certainly what you're getting, is a new line character to represent enter. Just \n.
This?
It's covered by the terminal, but just \n for the...
This. Oh, is that /?
Yes.
All right. I'll give it a shot. Pop that guy back up. Okay, I'm gonna assume that worked. Really have some output somewhere. Nope, nothing. It should log.
Check for a character like P or something. Test that independently.
What the? Well, it didn't break the loop. He just... Ooh, it is selecting. Selected option 0. So it is working. And then it said starting. Backing, yep, selected 1. Okay, so it is working. I don't know why it didn't break the loop. That's weird.
You've got a loop that says while true. What's supposed to break out of it?
Return. When I call the select function, it should break it, right?
And you need to hide your fucking terminal again.
Ah, shucks. I keep forgetting Jim. The selection here.
Why the hell would that break out of it?
It doesn't?
It's gonna call the function, it's gonna come right back to where it is. That's how function calls work.
Well, if I make a selection, I should pray. Hey, brother, leave me alone, brother. It's 6 a.m. It's 6 a.m., brother.
That's. You woke up at 10 p.m. I don't feel that bad. But yeah, there you go.
Nah, see, now I'm breaking. It's fine.
Yep.
Wicked. What nice. I have a generative UI system. That's pretty good.
Congratulations. You should use version control.
Oh yeah, I should open a Git. Let me do that. How do I do?
I think this is already a repository.
It might be. Open a repo. Okay, I'm gonna share Discord because I don't know.
Yeah, open a repository.
And what do I do?
Did it pop open a new window or something that I can't see?
Yes, it opened the File
yeah.
Explorer.
Just go to the folder that's the root of, so it's like, I think it's like desktop coding Jaba engine or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you just select the folder and then press OK.
Initialize.
Before you bulk commit that, hold up, you've got dumb shit like log.txt getting caught in there. Make a getignore file. I'd do it in IntelliJ. Just make a new file in the root directory called .getignore. Or wait, you have one called .getignore, so just open it in IntelliJ.
Holy cow. Eclipse? NetBeans? What the?
Yeah, this is a list of default shit that's being included. So there, scroll up the .idea. I would do .idea/star instead of there.
Well, what I think, I don't know. This seems right?
You're
I don't want to mess
getting
with anything.
.idea/gradle.xml. Okay. No, this is magic. This is just a suggested list of common shit you'd want to leave out. But .idea/gradle.xml is something you're currently committing, which you don't want. This is a Gradle project. You ideally don't want to be committing anything that's IDE specific as version control.
And then I need to do
log.txt.
just like that? Or do I need a path?
For log. No, it'll assume top level if you don't provide anything. If you press save, Control S, and then go back to get cracking, it should hopefully. Yeah, you have to unstage first and then restage. Yeah. Now that all looks like it's real code. Scroll up to the top of that change list real quick just to make sure. Yeah, build.gradle, that makes sense.
I got rid of Gradle.xml. It's right there. What the what? Why isn't it disappearing?
I'm gonna assume there
Hello?
was a spelling. Did you accidentally disconnect me?
No, my Discord crashed.
Yeah, I would be very careful on spelling. Make sure.
Is that right? You can see it on stream, right?
Your Discord stream's dead, so I can't.
No, I mean like on stream.
On YouTube, yeah, I see .idea/gradle.xml, but I don't know if that's the file that version control is catching or not. That's the thing. You need to make sure it's the same in Git Kraken as it is in the getignore. Sometimes this can get a little picky about order. I would probably move this up to like between lines 10 and 11, like. Oh.
Okay, so whenever I try to screen share Git Kraken, it crashes. Wicked.
That's pretty cool. I would put it above the libraries line in your getignore. Not at the end. Bump her up.
Nope, still there.
Keep in mind it won't immediately update. You know how like Git Kraken has the unstaged changes and the stage changes thing?
Yes.
Anything that's staged won't be affected by getignore. You have to unstage it. And then...
It is unstaged.
Okay. That is definitively weird.
If it's already staged, can you not unstage it?
Yeah, you can unstage. That's what the...
No, I mean if it's already a commit. If there's already a commit of it.
It shouldn't be committed.
there is apparently something called initial commit with a bunch of stuff in it, including that.
Oh, well, that's a fucking problem. For now, just leave it. It's fine. Deal with that later.
Yep,
It's not
create a
the end of the
remote
world.
push. Create. Yippee.
Hey.
What remote branch should master push to and pull from?
Probably just the same. Origin master.
My teacher said that I should try to rename all of my branches from master to main or something. He didn't give a specific reason, but...
Oh yeah, there's this weird... I think it's bullshit, but there's, people, like, think using the word master in any context is bad because it's, like, analogous to slavery or something.
Oh.
I don't fucking know. I don't get it. GitHub has its default, branch. Like, if you just make a repository on GitHub with an initial commit, it'll set that to main. But like all of the CLI tools still use master, and I think that's dumb. Reserving, you know, my opinion on words, but so it doesn't really matter. I mean, there's all kinds of naming schemes that have existed over the years. Since all the things they're called branches, often the like core one's called trunk. Everyone splits off of. There's another common one where there's like a production and a dev branch, and those are like the only two main ones, and then there's like individual branches named for different features people are working on. So there's a million different naming schemes you could use, but yeah, they're, as far as I can tell, a very small group of people, but some people who haven't take issue with using the word master. So that's probably why. Or maybe the guy had a completely different reason, I don't fucking know.
Figuring out how to get empty string selection. I'm using dot equals. So let me do Google. It says it returns an empty string. Oh, I have to use is empty. Wow. It just can't be easy in life, can it?
That feels weird. I doubt that's the issue. You're welcome to check.
Let me nuke the log.txt. And let me press W. Sure didn't fix it. Drats. This is using next line. This isn't using next. Apparently, I can use something called trim. I don't know if that's going to fix my issue, but... yeah, it's still not working. You know what I could do? What can I do? How do I check the value of something at runtime? Because this isn't working. Finds and returns the next complete token from the scanner. Oh, the next complete token. If I enter this... I don't think this is capable of throwing empties. I think next line is what I have to do. Jack? Oh, okay.
I was not paying attention at all.
Oh, I think line next. It's the way I read it.
When you're calling next, you are getting a character. You are not getting a line. You don't want to call next line because that's going to force you to press enter every single time, which you don't really.
I have to press enter every single time anyway. It just doesn't happen. I have to press enter regardless. If even on next, I still have to press enter.
Yeah, well, next line's going to give you a string, not a character. So.
I've been using strings. Yeah, what I looked at, I entered the source code of next, and it can't be nothing. So, by definition, I can't use next. I don't think.
Well, what you need to move to at some point.
Oh yeah, there it goes. All I did, next line, fixed it right there.
What you need to move to eventually is something that doesn't require the use of enter at all, right? Like, it should... You need better access to the keyboard input. Which I know for sure it is possible, because people make keyboard games in the terminal. And Arceus was like that. And that was... They did it using curses, so I don't know. And if you require some more advanced library, or if there's some way to accomplish it with escape codes, I don't know.
Didn't we make a really jank system before where if it remembered its last key or something from the last time it was pressed, it just...
We were doing that to implement hold. And so, because, like, if you're pulling the input, like, you are checking what key is pressed down 20 times a second, and you detect W.
I see Sharp has, like, a single line for this. I don't know why Java's being cringe. Java...
Line for what?
Input, with... Oh, stop. Like, in C Sharp, you can write... there's a certain thing you can write that will make it non-blocking, and it will just do it whenever it's read. Something called J-frames.
I don't know what the fuck any of that is.
Can I do a try-catch? No. Some dude said you can use something called getch, which is C#, but that doesn't exist here. What you doing, Jack?
Existing?
This thing uses threads, but I don't understand how you can get that back to when you pressed it. Here. Look at this. I'm gonna just post this in... crust. I don't have tilde keys, so... Opinion of this. ChatGPT wrote it. I have no idea if it's good or not. You can put it in tildes if you want, but...
That's right. A scanner has that. I still don't think this is gonna work, because, like, the scanner has next. Where's scan?
I have no idea how this works.
I don't know. System.in, I don't think receives shit until the terminal. I could be wrong. It's worth a try. You're welcome to copy.
I have no idea how this works, though. This is just straight up copy plastering from ChatGPT.
Okay, basically, the... Are you familiar with the idea of blocking? I'm gonna take that as a no.
Waits for something to happen?
Yeah, whenever you call, like, get input, it will, like, the code will stop there. It will wait until there is an input, and then it will continue. The problem with blocking calls is when you're running a real-time application where stuff's being rendered or animated, like, you can't afford to just freeze the entire application because you're waiting on one thing. So, there's
thanks.
several...
I asked ChatGPT if I can get away with pressing enter, and it said I have to use JLine.
I don't know what JLine is.
I don't know what it is either. Oh god, I have to build a custom terminal. This is cringe.
Well, okay, if you think about it, like, it kind of makes sense. The standard input-output model should not allow you to access anything typed until the enter key is pressed. But we're trying to bypass that. And I know it is possible because Arcus did it. I think the way Arcus accomplishes that is by using curses, a library which goes lower down and doesn't just rely on the standard stream model. That
curses was an entire screen. It was a separate terminal. It wasn't even related to the base terminal anymore.
Okay, but it ran in a terminal. It was still able to get live.
It was its own screen. It was no longer running in the base terminal, if I think correctly.
You're absolutely wrong, because I remember we were discussing, like, behavioral differences whenever you run a Windows terminal versus a Linux terminal. Like WSL versus command prompt. It was absolutely running in a real terminal. It wasn't a new window with a fake terminal. It wasn't a graphical library. It was...
My disdain for curses will never disappear. I'm looking at this J-line thing. It looks odd. I'm trying to single bundle or smart. I don't know if Java has curses. Oh, J-line is a Java library for handling console input. Do you want to peek?
I mean, I'd take a look, but frankly, I don't know anything more about this than you would. Yes, BSD, but with additional features. People familiar with the read line, modern shells such as
JavaDoc, Wiki.
Yeah, so I think what's missing here is like modern shells such as Bash or TC. Like if you were on some like legacy Born shell shit, like this would not work. Yeah, this is probably exactly what you need.
I can't find any way. I can't find how to use it. Documentation, demos, wiki. Wiki goes to this. Oh, okay, here we go. No, it just sent me back home. Demos. Oh, God. Glossary, terminal, line reader. Highlight and parsing. That's some garbage. So it creates a virtual terminal, and I can set it to certain things. I can also control the terminal size. I can make a terminal builder. So I can disable system. I can take streams, input and output, the size attributes. So I can give it a name. I can give, I don't know, info comp type. Encoding of the terminal defaults. Forces prohibits of the system terminal. Gives streams for input and output of the terminal. Dumb. Creates a dumb terminal if you know terminals are not supported, else exception is thrown. This looks useful. And it comes with different types of terminals. So it can come with ANSI. I don't know what that is. It can come with dumb. RXVT. I don't know. I think I'm just reading.
All the escape codes you're using are... I mean, ANSI is like the American National Standards Institute. It's an organization that makes all kinds of stuff, but I think in this case it's specifically referring to their standards for, you know, escape codes and interacting with the terminal.
Oh God, this looks disgusting. Gross. Documentation, please. Oh, this is so dumb. Line reader terminal glossary. Okay. I create a line reader that takes in my terminal, my completer, my highlighter, parser, and builder. So... a terminal, an old device that takes inputs and displays a terminating end of communication. A dumb terminal only shows text and takes input but doesn't process input, all work done on other ends of communication. A console, a cabinet of terminal into. Goes into. In software, terminal and console are used interchangeably. Why are you giving me the rundown? ANSI escape code. See ANSI's above. Since computer... what? I don't... why? What the... it just gave me a definition of what these mean. Brother, what? Whoever wrote this needs to be fired. I've yet to find actual useful documentation. Let me just look up a video, because this is absolutely convoluted spaghetti. I think I'm going to pick up on this tomorrow, actually. I have work in less than an hour.
Understandable.
Yes. Are you gonna... when did you wake up, Jack?
Whenever I sent you the I'm back with the milk message.
Oh boy. Yeah, you're fucked. Damn. It's... yeah, my sleep schedule is so fucked. Oh, shot, you're actually here. And the